is a very, very beautiful book. Srila Prabhupada said it's the real Bengali sweet. So just in case you like sweets, this book is actually very, very special. And so today I'll just share some ideas with you. Maybe I'll speak for 30 minutes or so. I won't speak too long. And then maybe you may have some questions or some comments and yeah, just some thoughts you may have. And then we can have a little bit of a discussion. So again, my gratitude. Thank you for the warm welcome. Om Gyanatimidandhasya Gyananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, as many of you know, I'm in US at the moment. So, I'm here at Harvard in Boston. So often I'm at the library, and it's quite an epic library. There's many, many hundreds of thousands of books there. I think they say that if you add up all the shelving, the length of the shelves in this library, and you'd put it in one line, I think it goes for like over 50 miles. So it's like you can imagine, it's a lot of books, right? And today I wanted to begin by asking all of you a question, and you can put your answer on the chat. How many books do you think have been written in the history of our world? Right. So that's like from the beginning of time up till now. How many books do you think have been written? I ask you that question. Just sorry, excuse me. I'm just gonna show you um, my thing. Yeah, so please put your answers on the chat. Just a guess. How many books do you think have been written in the kind of history of the world? Uh, 20 million, 160 million, billions, nearly. There's only 7 billion people in the world. Uh, 1 billion, Chaitanya, one, my God, I don't know what that is.
Get
A
me your
million
laptop.
trillion or something, hard to comprehend. A zillion books, yeah? It's not so easy to write a book. Um, okay, 1 million. So we have everything from like 1 million to 1 zillion or 1 million trillion, whatever that is. So okay, so clearly we don't have a consensus here about how many books there are in the history of the world. Okay, I asked ChatGPT how many books have been written in the history of the world. And this is why you know ChatGPT doesn't know everything, because ChatGPT gave me like an exact answer. And there's no way in the world that anyone can have an exact answer on this. So you know ChatGPT is also making it up a little bit. But this is the figure that ChatGPT gave me. How many books in the entire world? Okay, you ready? 130. I think there's a bit more than that. 8, 6, 4. There's more than that. 800. Oops. And 5. According, according to ChatGPT, that's how many books have been written in the history of the world. It could actually be double that, but let's say between 100 and 200 million books have been written in the course of human history. It's a lot of books, right? A lot that people have thought about, a lot that people have discussed, a lot of ideas there. And obviously, a lot of information that people think is important to share with other people. Otherwise, you wouldn't write a book on it. It takes something to write a book. And if this is the total number of books in the world, do you know how many books are written every single year? New books every single year. 2.5 million books, new books, are written every year. So, and it's not reducing actually. More and more people are reading books, even though they have online books, still people are reading print books, like Amazon sales don't go down. People are into books. People have always been into books, and people will always be into books. Even more than listening to a class like this, reading a book is a very unique thing because you're one to one. You're one to one with the author, is slower, you can think about it. It's a very deep exchange, actually, when you read a book. And now the question then is, what makes the CC so special? Why are we doing a push for the CC? What out of all these 130 million books, why is CC considered one of the most, if not the most important book? That's a big claim. That means you're saying you're one in 130 million. Why? Why is that such a big thing? And obviously there must be a reason for it, and therefore the devotees are trying to distribute as many sets of the Chaitanya Charitamrita as they can. So I'm going to try in like 20 minutes to share with you why the CC is so unique. These are just some pictures for you to let you know that you're not alone in trying to spread Lord Chaitanya's message all around the world. There are other devotees helping you, and there is Lord Chaitanya himself who has a desire to go everywhere. This is a bridge in the north of England, and the devotees at one point went on a campaign to put Gauranga. Of course, we know Gauranga is another name for Chaitanya, the golden limbed one. So now, when you travel across all these motorways in north of England, everyone sees Gauranga's name, and it's very beautiful. It's very auspicious. It's very purifying. Um, and this is what we call real bridge preaching. Here is a bus the devotees got. They put Gauranga all over the bus, drove through many cities and towns with this bus, again giving people the opportunity to chant Gauranga. And here is even the devotees who went to anyone and everyone, and they ended up going to someone who programmed computer games. And for those of you who are computer game enthusiasts, you'll know this is Grand Theft Auto. And in Grand Theft Auto, at one point in this car game, the Hare Krishnas appear. And unfortunately, if you run over the Hare Krishnas, I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately, Gauranga appears on the screen. So there you go. Lord Chaitanya makes his entrance into all kinds of places in the world, everywhere from motorway bridges to milk cans to bus advertisements to computer games. There's something about Lord Chaitanya which is just trying to meet everyone. Doesn't matter where they are and how far they may be from any kind of spiritual realization. So Why is Lord Chaitanya so, before we talk about the Chaitanya Charitamrita, why is Lord Chaitanya so special? So here along the top, you have many famous spiritual teachers. Um, Here on the left, you have one of the most famous spiritual teachers of all time. This is the Buddha. The Buddha came. Uh, Most people date it 500 BC, and the Buddha taught, the enlightened one. And then here in the next picture, you have Shankara. Shankara was also another great teacher. He's dated about 700 AD. So this is about 500. These are all rough. 500 BC, 700 AD. Here you have another great teacher. This is Ramanuja. Ramanuja was also another great teacher, 1000 AD approximately. And then you have Madhva. Madhva is about 1200 AD. 1200 or 1300? I think something, yeah, pretty sure. And then you have Chaitanya, who is 1500 AD. Sorry, did someone want to say something? Okay. Just someone can check Madhva for me. Is it 1200 or 1300? If there's a mistake, just let me know. I'm pretty sure it's 1200, 13th century. What we see amongst these teachers is that there is a progression. Krishna came 5,000 years ago, but we know that after Krishna left this world, there was a degradation, which often happens. There's a pure spiritual teaching, but then how many people are following the pure spiritual teachings? People misinterpret the teachings, people misuse the teachings, and people miss the point of the teachings often. And that's basically what happened 500 years ago. Yeah, 13th century. I was right. I was right. So that's basically what happened. And so Buddha came 2,500 years after Krishna. And Buddha basically taught that there was no God. Shunyavad. There's no God. Why did he deny God? Because he wanted to deny the scriptures. He wanted to deny all of this stuff. And instead, what he wanted to do was teach people, be a good person, be a nice person, be a non-violent person. You guys, through religion, you're doing so much violence. Better you forget all this religion and first learn to be non-violent. Because if you are lacking in character, there's no way you're going to be able to advance in your spiritual journey. And so Buddha taught there's no God, shunyavad, there's nothing. It's just a continuous cycle of birth and death. And ultimately, you have to get out. And to get out, you have to live the eightfold noble path. Um, and that's basically what he taught. It wasn't the ultimate, but he taught something that was useful for the spiritual journey. But then Shankara came after him, and what he taught was that there is God, but there's no difference. There's no difference between us and God. We are God. Everyone is God. Tattvam asi aham brahmasmi. That there is no difference between the Atma and Brahman. So it was an easier transition from Buddha. Buddha said there's no God. Shankara said, no, no, it's okay. He's kind of right, but everyone is God. So therefore, Shankara elevated the discourse by introducing the idea of Brahman and reintroducing the Vedas as spiritual literature. But of course, we know that's not the conclusion. We all want to experience love. And in order for there to be love, there has to be relationship. In order for there to be relationship, there has to be individuality. So there must be individuality of Brahman and individuality of Paramatma, Atma. So the next teacher was Ramanuja, and what did he do? He detected difference. He said, Shankara was okay, but he made a kind of big mistake. He didn't make the difference. He didn't show the distinction. And therefore, yes, there is oneness between Atma and Brahman, but there's a qualification of that oneness. Therefore, his philosophy is known as Vishishta Dvaita, which means qualified monism. And so Ramanuja teaches that there is difference, and there is oneness, but we have to recognize that there is difference. And then Madhva, he emphasized the difference. You see his hand here? His hand, uh, this wasn't a precursor to the hippie revolution where he's telling everyone, like, peace out. This hand with two fingers represents dualism because he taught something called Shuddha Dvaita. Shuddha Dvaita means you should never think that you're one with God. Even thinking it in some way is very dangerous because real happiness comes from service. And if you in any way think you're one with God, it may compromise your service spirit. And therefore, he said, no, no, pure one, pure dualism, Shuddha Dvaita. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes, and what does he do? He harmonizes the difference. He says, no, no, in one sense, everything that everyone was saying has some truth in it. And the real essence of it all is the real essence of philosophy is achintya, bheda, abheda, tattva. That there's simultaneous oneness and difference between us and God. Now, I'm telling you Chaitanya's philosophy in a very, very quick way. This is very deep. It has very profound ramifications. But what I'm basically sharing with you is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu basically took all the teachings of the greatest thinkers, the greatest spiritualists over centuries. And what he did was he harmonized those teachings to show that there's some element of truth in all of them, but none of them reveals the sweetest type of relationship with divinity. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu presents the essence of philosophy, and then what he does is he presents the essence of practice, which is connection with God through sound. Sound is very powerful. It's the way in which divinity, God, Krishna, makes himself available in this age. Kali Kaler Nama Rupa Krishna Avatar. That in this Kali Yuga there is an avatar, and that avatar is Krishna Nama, the name of Krishna. And therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known as the essence of all avatars. The great singer Lochan Das Thakur, he says, Sabai avatar sara siromani kevala ananda kanda. That of all the avatars, of all the incarnations, of all the descents of the divine, Sara Siromani, Chaitanya is the essence of all of them. Why? Because Kevala Ananda Kanda. He's giving a spiritual teaching and a way of approaching divinity that is full of happiness. So he's the Sara Siromani. Siromani means crest jewel. So I'm just beginning by sharing with you why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so important, so special. Uh, he is the incarnation of love, the Prema Purushottam. Sometimes we say Rama is the Maryada Purushottam, God who shows the ideal example. Krishna is Leela Purushottam, God who shows beautiful, very sweet pastimes. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Prema Purushottam. He's exuding love And he's showing us the method by which we can enter into the pastimes of love, right? Think about that. He's helping you to enter into the sweetest pastimes of love. That is Chaitanya. So, um, I'm just going to try and share with you. I already told you there are 130 million books in this world. So now I'm just going to quickly try to show you why the Chaitanya Charitamrita is a special book, a very special book. Okay, if we're to take these 130,000 books, then basically we can divide them into two. On one side, we can say some of them are just dealing with material knowledge. And then we can say some of them are dealing with spiritual knowledge. So therefore, material knowledge changes, right? Like one person wrote a bestseller, New York Times bestseller. And then he wrote another book, in which he basically explained that everything he wrote in the first book was wrong. And you know what? The second book became an even bigger bestseller. This is basically what's going on in the world. So basically, material knowledge changes. Material knowledge may be true for one person, but untrue for another person. And material knowledge has some kind of cheating propensity behind it. People have some kind of motivation why they're giving it. And ultimately, material knowledge is exposed to contain lies at some point. And therefore, material knowledge clearly is of an inferior quality. But spiritual knowledge is known as tattva. Yeah, you understand this word? Tattva means truth. But it doesn't just mean truth, it means desha,
రాసిన మీరే తీసుకోండి.
kala, patra. Desha means whatever place you're in. Kala means whatever generation or time you're in. And patra means whatever situation you're in. Tattva is that knowledge which is true in every single time, place, and circumstance, which never changes, which is universal. That's real spiritual knowledge. So therefore, of these 130 million, I don't know how many are material and how many are spiritual. I would guess, hazard a guess, is something like this, 80%, 20%. That's a total speculation. But let's just say that's what it is. Okay? So now we understand of these 130 million, the most important are spiritual books. Now, among spiritual books, there is a gradation. Because it's not that all spiritual books are the same. All spiritual books are beautiful. All spiritual books are wonderful. All spiritual books will help you uncover something much deeper in you, but they're at different levels of presentation. So how do you know? How do you grade theologies? How do you grade spiritual teachings? Well, the first thing is you have to ask yourself auspiciousness. The best spiritual teachings don't just sound good, but they create goodness in the world. They create goodness in people. If people are reading a spiritual book, but they don't really improve, it means that there may be some lacking in them, of course, but there may be less potency in that spiritual knowledge. The knowledge which can create the most goodness in the world and goodness in people is the most powerful spiritual knowledge, right? Another way you can assess is detail. What level of detail does this spiritual knowledge give when it comes to answering the questions of life? Why are we suffering? What happens after this life? Why is there so much differences in the world? How did we come here? in the first place? If there's a God, then why don't I feel his presence? All these kind of questions, they're able to answer in the greatest detail with the greatest clarity. That's a higher spiritual knowledge, right? Then, applicable. The highest spiritual knowledge is something that you're able to apply in your life. You take it and it helps you do things in your life. It helps you to change things in your life. It can actually be lived. It's not just abstract, right? Fourth one is the highest spiritual knowledge is beautiful. It's beautiful in its poetry, it's beautiful in its imagery, it's beautiful just to read it. The most advanced spiritual knowledge, you don't just read it to get knowledge. You read it because it's like reading this is like bathing. It's like bathing in beauty. Okay? And there could be more, but I'm just giving you some. Accessible is another one. The greatest spiritual knowledge is accessible to everyone. It's not like, oh, you're from this country, or you're from that background, or you're from you don't have this much intelligence. No, it's accessible to everyone. So, if something produces better effects, it has more detail, it's more applicable, it has great beauty, and it's very, very accessible, then you should understand that to be the highest theology. Everyone has to do their own assessment. There are many spiritual paths out there, and we don't come in and say all those spiritual paths are wrong and we're right, and if you don't follow us, it's all over. No. We say there are many spiritual paths in the world, and you know what? They're all beautiful. And you know what? If you practice them with sincerity, you're going to bring beauty into your life. But it's also important to recognize that each of them may be revealing a certain amount of the spiritual truth, and that they all have a good effect, but that doesn't mean they're all the same. There is also evolution of thought. So why am I telling you this? Because out of the 130 million books, remember we started here, only a few are spiritual, 20% I said. And of those that are spiritual, it's said that the highest, not because we say it's the highest, but because of these parameters, are said to be the Vedas. And you don't have to believe it. You can do your own assessment. We tell people, look at these 5 factors. And if you compare it to the Vedas, you will see this is the most incredible spiritual revelation. Okay? So now we're narrowing down the books. Now we've come to the Vedas. But the amazing thing is that the Vedas in themselves are voluminous. So which books of the Vedas should we read? So there are many, many books in the Vedas. But all the teachers and the followers of Vedic knowledge, they said that amongst the Vedas, there are 3 books which are very, very important. The first books they said were very important are the Upanishads, because the Upanishads are the first books in the Vedas which begin to talk about Atma and Brahman, real spiritual self-knowledge and knowledge of the Supreme. Another very, very important book is in the Itihasas, the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita. That's considered the next very, very important book. And because the Upanishads are difficult to understand, Vyasadeva wrote Vedanta, which is like the essence of the Upanishads. So that book is also very, very important. So these 3 are known as something called Prasthana Trayi, or the 3 main books of the Vedas. You have to read the Gita, you have to read the Upanishads, and you have to read Vedanta Sutra if you want to know what is the essence of the Vedas. Now, the Vaishnavas, what they say is the Gita is an incredible book. And the Gita is also known as, the Gita is also known as Gita Upanishad. So, you don't have to read the Gita and the Upanishads. You just read the Gita because it gives you the essence of the Upanishads within the Gita anyway. So the Vaishnavas, they say, yes, everyone is saying Prasthana Trayi, but what do the Vaishnavas say? They say actually Bhagavad Gita covers both the Bhagavad Gita, of course, and the Upanishads. And they say Vedanta, if you want to know the essence of Vedanta, then you have to read Bhagavatam. So therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam is more important than even reading Vedanta. So according to Vaishnavas now, the most important books in the Vedas are the Gita and the Bhagavatam. Okay? So there you have it. So, but this whole talk is about the CC. I thought you were going to tell us about the CC. Yes, that goes to the next stage. So the Vaishnavas say the essence is Bhagavad Gita and then the Srimad Bhagavatam. And what they say is this is actually a progression. The Bhagavad Gita is Krishna's words, but the Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna's activities. So the Bhagavatam tells you more about the beauty of Krishna. And the Bhagavatam basically talks about something called rasa. Rasa means taste or relish, which is basically what everyone's looking for in life. However, what the Vaishnavas then say is this rasa, if you want to understand it, and if you want to access it, then you have to read Caitanya Charitamrita. In other words, unless you read the Caitanya Charitamrita, you won't actually understand the profound rasa or experience of love that the Bhagavatam is talking about. Because the highest type of love is the love of Radharani for Krishna. But unless you read the Caitanya Charitamrita, you won't be able to understand the love of Radharani that's being described in the Bhagavatam, because in the Bhagavatam that love is covered. Radharani's name is not even mentioned directly. And if you want to access that rasa, if you want to enter into those pastimes, then you need to read the Caitanya Charitamrita, because it tells you the process by which you qualify yourself to enter into the highest pastimes of Krishna. So now, in this short time, I've tried to share with you why the Caitanya Charitamrita is such a special book. Yeah, I'm just going to summarize it for you so it's super clear. Okay, there are 130 million books in the world, and out of them, most are material and maybe some are spiritual. So let's take these out of the game straight away. Now, amongst the spiritual, there are different gradations. And when you look at everything objectively, then you will see that amongst the spiritual books, the Vedas are the most advanced spiritual books. So now let's just take out the general category of spiritual. Now, amongst the Vedas, there are many, many books. And amongst those many, many books, there is the Prasthana Trayi, the three books which basically summarize the main spiritual knowledge of the Vedas. So now you don't have to worry about the Vedas, just worry about those three books. But the Vaishnavas, they come and say, more important than the Prasthana Trayi is Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So don't worry about study Vedanta Sutra, just read Bhagavatam. It's written by the same author, it distills the essence. So now you don't need to worry about that. But then what the Gaudiya Vaishnavacharyas say is that if you read CC, in CC the Bhagavad Gita is quoted, the Srimad Bhagavatam is quoted, but also what happens is you get understanding of rasa and you get access to rasa. And therefore, I'm not going to cross out Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam here because you should read that. But in essence, the CC is actually enough. And therefore, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said, if you are in a flood and you can only carry 3 books, then you should carry Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and CC. But he said, if the water level rises and you have to put 1 book down, then put down the Bhagavad Gita, but don't put down the Bhagavatam and the CC. But he said, if the water rises even more and you have to put down one of them, then put down the Bhagavatam. But don't, whatever you do, don't put down the CC. Because the CC contains the essence of the Bhagavatam and the Srimad Bhagavatam, but it also allows you to enter into the essence of what those books are. And therefore, this is why the Chaitanya Charitamrita is so special. This is why Srila Prabhupada translated this beautiful book for us. This is why we're doing such an effort to try and distribute these books. And that's why we have this campaign, Be a Gardener. So I'm just going to open it up for questions before, just to give you a little bit of time to formulate your questions if you have any questions, because we have 5-10 minutes. Mataji, do you want to say anything about the campaign, about how devotees can get involved? And then I'll take a few questions.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much. That was so detailed and you simplified it for us. Even I didn't have that understanding of how we can break it down. And for my own realization, thank you so much. It was really helpful. I just wanted to tell everyone that Be a Gardener campaign is like, we are. What we are aiming is towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance day, which is on 3rd of March, that we can please him and we can spread this knowledge of Mahaprabhu. Who Mahaprabhu is, actually no one knows about him. So if we know about Mahaprabhu ourselves, then we can share with others, and we can why every home needs Lord Chaitanya in the form of Chaitanya Charitamrita. We understood from Kesava Maharaj that how important this book is, and why we should keep one for ourselves also, and we should distribute, or we should try to reach out to those who don't have it, or who don't have knowledge about these precious scriptures. So that is this Be a Gardener campaign. You can become the gardener of this tree of devotion. So that is what it is. So I will now, like Maharaj said, open it up for question and answers. If you have any
All
questions, I
right,
can see.
yes. Thank you, Mataji. And thanks to all the efforts of the devotees in London. It's incredible what you all are doing. So yeah, if you have any questions, but what I request is please keep your questions focused on Chaitanya Charitamrita and what we've discussed today. General questions we can do another day, but we're just trying to really focus on the Chaitanya Charitamrita here. Okay. Okay, so Subhadra, Mataji. Can they unmute themselves? Is that possible?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Yes. Looks like you don't have the best connection. You may have to turn your video off and maybe turn your audio on.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can you unmute yourself? I think there's some
No? Okay.
problem.
So maybe
Maybe.
we'll come back to Subhadra when she's sorted out her connection. Uh,
Can you hear
or
me?
you can. Okay, yes, we can hear you. Yes. You may want to turn your video off so we can get better audio. No? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for
Hare
your nice
Krishna.
presentation. So I just, what would you say to people to, convince them to buy a set of Chaitanya Charitamrita? I'm here at the book table, so.
Oh, what would you say to people? Okay, yes. Like I don't, when people ask me that question, it's very difficult because I don't have set lines. I start from the person and then I make a connection. So sometimes sometimes what I try to judge is what are people interested in? If someone's philosophically minded, then what I try to share with them is that the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you'll find the essence of all philosophy. You can share maybe some of the things I've shared, like you may have read into Buddhism, you may have read elements of this, elements of that, but you'll find actually all these things discussed. There are many conversations. So sometimes I explain the glory of the philosophy of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Um, Sometimes I just share with them if they're from a Hindu background, if they're from an Indian background, then I may share with them about how these are the books that tell you how to live the Bhagavad Gita. They may be familiar with the Gita. So then I explain to them that the Chaitanya Charitamrita teaches you how to live the Gita in your daily life like that. Other people, I just tell them they're like the stories of the people who went around the world making a revolution of love. Do you think the world needs a little bit more love? And then basically I come in like that. So yeah, I don't know. Like I don't have like the lines. Maybe others can be better on that. But I just try to see where someone is and then try to make a connection.
You gave such a nice talk.
Where?
Just now.
Where?
All right. Okay, Garima.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So good to see you again.
Yes.
My question is that, I don't understand what is the difference between a commentary and a purport?
Okay. All right. Thank
Yeah.
you. Ideally, if we can keep the questions focused on CC, is better. But okay, I'll answer it anyway. Commentary and a purport, in one sense, they're the names. They're the same thing. They're explaining the verses. Sometimes what happens in our ISKCON terminology is we use commentary to refer to the acharyas who have commentated on the scripture. And then we use the word purport to refer to Srila Prabhupada's writings, who's then taken all those commentaries and put them together in one place for us. But in one sense, what does purport mean? You can do an English search on it. It just means an explanation. Purport is similar to the word purpose. So what is the purpose of this? What is it trying to say? What is it trying to do? So it's like that. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Sadhvi, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much for today.
Hare Krishna.
I saw in PowerPoint you have put up. Strangely, I was by myself trying to study that to understand that, and it was the word Shruti.
Shruti, yes.
Yes. Have I understand it right? Shruti means mouth to mouth. You hear. When you hear the history and then you write it and then you give it back to the next person and next person. So it's by hearing. It's not by. Is it?
Yeah.
Have I understood
Yeah,
it right?
Thank you. Nice question. Yes. So Vedas basically have two categories, Shruti and Smriti. So sometimes people ask, what is the difference between them? So Shruti literally means that which is heard. So what is explained is that Brahman, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, at the beginning of creation reveals knowledge of itself. And what happens is that knowledge directly emanates from the mouth of God. And what happens is that emanation, that vibration from the mouth of God is known as Shabda Brahman. You've heard this word. Shabda Brahman means the Supreme Lord in syllable sound format, form. So what then happens is that there are rishis. Rishis are great sages. And what they do is that in meditation, they can actually hear all of that knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They can actually cognitize it, right? And then what happens is when they hear it, then what they do is they write it down. And those books that they then write down are known as the Shruti. So, for example, the four Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharva Veda, Shruti. Then there are Brahmanas, which are commentaries on those four Vedas, Shruti. Then there are Aranyakas, which are commentaries on the Brahmanas, Shruti. Then there are Upanishads, which are commentaries on all of those, Shruti. So all of this is cognized by sages in their meditation, hearing the eternal sound vibration. See, that sound vibration is even going on today, but you have to be able to tune into it. So those books are known as Shruti. And then the Smriti are basically remembered incidences. So sages remember things that happened in the past, and then they write down histories, itihas, Puranas, like that.
May I ask a follow-up question, please?
Yes.
Thank you. According to this, what you say, so what I'm thinking is sometimes maybe I get to hear something from you, for instance, and my mindset translated the way you say it, but also I, from myself,
You
lay
added something
something
in.
in it. You know what I mean? And then I will tell it to someone else. Is it possible that this happened also here? Thank you.
In the scripture, in the Shruti, they are not, they are literally hearing, they're like scribes. So what happens is they hear and they just, whatever they're hearing, they're writing. So they're not putting their opinion into it. They're just writing what they hear. Like a
Thank you.
transcriber. You know, like a transcriber, like that.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Like that. Yeah.
Thank you. Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
Thank you. Okay, Shayna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for a wonderful talk as always. I've actually started reading the CC and I find Adi Leela really, really challenging and it's so philosophical. In order to understand that, do you need to have a full grasp of the Gita and the Bhagavatam before you tackle the Adi Leela, especially?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for asking that. So on one hand, I'm saying if you want to understand Bhagavatam, you have to read the CC. But it feels like if you haven't read the Gita and Bhagavatam, you can't understand CC. So both are true. Ideally, read the Gita first, then read the Bhagavatam, then read the CC. Then once you've read the CC, come back to the Bhagavatam, and then you'll be able to understand the Bhagavatam deeper. So it goes like that. Bhagavatam,
Okay.
Gita, Bhagavatam, CC, come back to the Bhagavatam. Then go to the CC again, then come back to the Bhagavatam.
Yeah,
And
because
like
I've
this,
read
you
all of
go.
them. I've read all of it, and still I
You've read
can't
it all.
grasp. Yeah,
Yeah.
I still can't grasp the Adi Leela,
You
especially.
have to read all of it again.
Okay. So shall I just start
All
back
right.
from the Gita then?
Yes, yeah, you can. I say you only read a book when you read it for the third time.
Okay.
So you have to read again and again. You have to read slow, read deeply, read asking questions, and every time it goes a little deeper. Okay?
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you.
Louis.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Hare Krishna, Maharaj. I have a similar experience like Shena, and I did not read the Caitanya Caritamrita yet, but I heard an audio lecture, and the beginning was quite difficult. And when we go and approach people to share that knowledge with them, then I think it's also good to be convinced of it as well, right? So what is a good maybe approach to that?
Yeah. Personally, if I was doing the CC set, then I would give at least one one small book like one new like basic book with the CC set. Because yeah, people need an introduction, people need some exposure. Going straight into the CC, they may not fully be able to grasp it. So we know the CC is amazing. We know that it's going to require patience to read it and understand it. Many of the points that we've that have changed our life are spoken about in the CC. So it's not that you don't have faith in the CC, but we realize it's a very elevated topic. So what I generally do is just have another couple of small books that you give and give them the CC and encourage them read the small books first. And books have to be there. What to speak of new people, even on this call, devotees struggle with the CC. So it's not that anyone's really going to be immediately at that point. But as long as the books are there, at least they know that's a journey I got to get to, you know?
Yeah, I understand. Maybe also the CC compact you write is maybe a good approach.
Yes, yeah, we have a online. There's a overview of the CC. CC, I don't know what the URL would be now. I think it's cccompact.keshavaswami.com if I'm right.
Yeah, I can send it in the chat maybe.
Yeah, you can send it, yeah. Then you can yeah, that's the one. Then you can basically see an overview of the CC there. I've put it on, it's fine.
All right. Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah, all right. Thank you. Okay, Anita, that might
Hare Krishna Maharaj, can you hear us?
Yes, yes.
Just a really quick question. You've inspired Raki to buy a set.
Okay,
And
wonderful.
this is Raki. Raki's got a quick question for you.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Raki.
Krishna. Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yes,
me? Yeah.
yes,
I
we
just
can hear you,
wanted to
Raki.
ask how should I welcome the Chaitanya Charitamrita into my home? With what sort of consciousness?
Yeah, the books are, you see, like when you bring the Chaitanya Charitamrita, when you bring the Bhagavatam into your home, then yeah, it's bringing Krishna in that form into your home. So the books are living, the books are personal, the books are guiding you, the books are your best friend. And therefore, see that the books are deities, and just like, like a deity, if you, or let me start with a book. Imagine you have books in your home, but you don't know how to read. Then for you, the books will simply be paper, some physical object. Similarly, people see the deity. They don't have the spiritual vision, therefore they think this is just stone. But if you know how to read, then what will happen is that book can make you cry, it can make you laugh, it can change your life, it can give you hope, it can give you confidence when you're at your lowest, it can make you calm when you're completely hysterical, it can change you completely. But you have to know the language. And so, in the same way, see that the books are living, like the deity is living, but you need to communicate with them through the language of sincerity. And when you do that, then the books become your best friends. So, see it like that. This is Krishna coming in my home, and it's my best friend. Okay? All right. Okay, maybe this will be the last question then, because it's
Yes, I'm so sorry. Have I understood it right, but that the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita is built on 8 verses? The whole book is...
the Shikshashtakam. You mean the Shikshashtakam?
Yes, yes.
The Shikshashtakam is said to be the 8 instructions of Mahaprabhu, and it's the final chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Shikshashtakam. But I don't know if we would say, in one sense, we can say yes, it's built upon the Shikshashtakam in the sense that it explains those 8 prayers with more depth, obviously. But actually, the Caitanya Charitamrita is built on the first 14 verses of the Caitanya Charitamrita. The very first 14 verses in chapter 1